We welcome you live to the Fountain Square Brewing location of Upland Brewing. We're going to do this once a month. It is the UIndy Greyhound Coaches Show here on the ISC Sports Network. And, well, the two of us that are on with you have been around UIndy for the same amount of time. I probably shouldn't mention how long that has been. The head coach of the University of Indianapolis football team, Chris Keevers, joins us now. Coach, good to see you, my friend. How are you?
Happy to be here.
Well, it's great to have you here, and you'd be great at this interview regardless, but it's always easier to have this conversation after a big win, which you got on Saturday, beating Ashland, who was ranked 20th at the time in Division II, to get to 2-1 in the season. We'll kind of work our way backwards through the schedule. What do you see that you liked about your team against the Eagles on Saturday afternoon?
You know, the way they came back, it was some toughness. We lost some guys in the second and third quarter, both starting corners and the left tackle, and we're down by 12 in the fourth quarter with 10 minutes left, and we scored 18 unanswered, and the kids answered the bell. They stuck together. We didn't point fingers. Very proud of the group. You could see it on film, the tempo. We just started playing faster and harder than the other team, and that's how you win.
Let's kind of talk about big picture, what that win meant for your season, because now you have gotten to the point where to qualify for the playoffs, it is an AQ through the league, correct?
Yes.
All right, so beating the number 20 team in the country, what does that mean for you in terms of rankings, potential seeding, et cetera?
Yeah, you're just trying to get a better seeding. That's what you're trying to do. And to beat Ashland, who won a playoff game last year, and made it to the second round, it really helps. I mean, and because they're in our region now. They weren't before, but now they are. So the GMAC has joined us. So, I mean, to win a big region game like that is very important because it's all about trying to get – you'd like to get a home game in the playoffs. We've won some home games in the playoffs, harder to win on the road.
Understood. And the GLVC schedule awaits, and you frankly have maybe the toughest half of the GLVC schedule coming up as well. But you're 2-1 in non-conference play, 1-1 in terms of games against Division II competition. Overall, heading to GLVC play, how do you feel about your team?
I really like our football team. I've said that before. It's a close group. They've worked real hard. They've paid the price. We're athletic, we're physical, just the way we came out on Saturday is kind of who we are. I mean, physical, athletic, compete. The quarterback, our quarterback Gavin Sukup is, you can win any time because he can sling it around and run around and make plays, and so that defense was one of the top Division II defenses I've seen in a long time, and for us to come back and score those points at the end of the fourth quarter, it says a lot about our offense. I like our offense. I think we can, we'll just keep getting better. The group of receivers and the quarterback and the offensive line and the running backs, we got two running backs. So Garrett Sherrill from Brownsburg,
right.
Really like him. So, no, I like our football team. We learned a good lesson. We came out the week after Marion, didn't play very well, didn't have a great week of practice. We came back, had a great week of practice, and it's going well.
All right, let's talk about Gavin for a second. Third year in the program, correct?
Yes.
All right, tell us how, because you have expanded the recruiting footprint at the University of Indianapolis. There's always key players like Garrett, you just talked about, Garrett Sherrill of Brownsburg, with the local products. But fertile recruiting grounds historically have been Chicagoland area, the St. Louis area. I know now you're kind of dipping into Tennessee for players. Gavin is a little bit different. Tell me how he ended up here at the University of Indianapolis.
To be honest, we were not planning on going and getting a junior college quarterback. We went to the junior college up in Chicago, and we went to the Page, and we watched some practice and saw him and said, boy, we really like him. He's got another year to play. But then we had offered three kids in Indianapolis quarterback. We offered three different quarterbacks. They all three decided to go other places. So we went back to Gavin and said, hey, I know you got one more year left, but we'd like to have you. We recruited him. He came on Friday, and school started on Monday in January. So, two-time MVP. He's a kid from Nebraska. Lives about I think he's like 20 minutes from Lincoln, but he's been special for us. Loves football. Loves his team. Really good team guy. A football junkie. Always around. Always in our offices. Just he's the perfect kind of the quarterback you want.
And let's face it, you now have to recruit your own guys every year. That is the world we live in. There's the roster fluidity. I know you were a little concerned that Gavin may have ended up someplace else for his senior season. what eventually brought him back to UIndy for one more run?
I think he loves the team, and I think he really liked the offense. The style of play that we play, and I just think he said, I got unfinished business. I want to go out and I want to win some playoff games, and I want to make it happen for this place. And so he committed to our play, and that says a lot, about our team and about him, that he wanted to stick around.
Well, Chris knows this because he'll nod his head as I tell him this. There are certain players, again, I wish I had knowledge of the great players in Nebraska. I know Gavin was one of them 4 years ago. But the kids that we get to have on the ISC Sports Network, Chris is used to getting a text from me every February, and they go, hey, that's a really great player for you. Glad you got that kid. When Garrett signed with UIndy, having watched him play at Brownsburg, go, hey, you have a winner on your hands. Talk about keeping Garrett at home and what he has meant to your team so far.
Well, he's a sophomore, and he's coming in. He played a little bit last year.
Right.
And he's really, he's our lead back, and he's making big plays and makes people miss, and he's got speed, and he seems to get better as the game goes on. You start making bigger plays in the third and fourth quarter. So he's been special, wonderful person, just fun to be around, always got a smile on his face, and he's really being productive for us. So, we love the local talent. We're at high school games every week. Yep. We cover the area. We're trying to get as many as we can. We had 3 guys on defense the Indianapolis kids that really played well. I mean, Alvin Contreras, the outside
Davis.
linebacker, he's a conference player of the week this week. Sophomore linebacker from Ben Davis, had 2 touchdowns, had a fumble recovery, and he had like 8 tackles. I mean, so he's been special. And then Jalen Wilson is a linebacker from Brownsburg. He had 9 tackles and 9 assists. So, and then the last kid was Danny Royster from Lawrence North, and he had 3 sacks last night. I mean, 2 nights ago.
Yep.
No, our Indianapolis kids had big games.
And Danny from Lawrence North went to Ball State and then worked his way eventually to the University of Indianapolis. And kind of on that front, when it comes to the offensive side of things, it's largely names that have been in the program. Defensively, maybe kids have been in the program, but you had a lot of turnover defensively. Your thoughts about how your group has kind of had to learn on the fly these first 3 weeks of the season?
Yeah, I mean, there was probably, there's 5 kids that have started before, but not been consistent starters. So brought in some transfers and had to get them together and played okay against Marion and played really poorly against Findlay, and then came out Saturday and put it all together. And I was very proud of the unit, and they just you could see the athleticism. You could see us getting better every quarter. We were getting better and better, and that just to play a team like Ashland and to hold them. They're a running football team, and we held them to 116 yards and 3.3 yards a carry, and that that's a win for us. And that's and I'll tell you what, our kicking game helped us last week. We had our punter, Andrew Herron. He had 5 kicks inside the 20, and he had 3 punts. He flipped the field and had 3 punts over 50.
That's nice.
So that.
I say I work for the Colts. I'm no longer a punting expert. They don't punt apparently anymore over the first couple of weeks of the season. All right, our cameras had a chance to see you. The return of the monumental matchup. I know that's 2 weeks ago, but to have that stage in Indianapolis, we were able to put that game on MyIndy TV 23. To win the way you did, 45-21 final score. Greyhound scored the first 31 points of that game. To play that game for the first time in 9 years, what did that mean to your program?
I think it's healthy for Indianapolis.
Absolutely.
And for the only 2 scholarship schools in the city to play each other, we should play each other. And I like Ted, and we put this game together, and I think our guys really enjoyed playing. I know theirs did too. It didn't, but it was. They all know each other. They all hang out with each other. They see each other. My son worked with a guy all summer that he played against.
Right.
It's kind of a neat situation because everybody does know each other, and it was a special game. I was happy the way we played. I got a little sloppy at the end, but I think they're coming to our place next year, and it's good for everybody.
It's good. Again, put you in the spotlight that you're wanting to have. Coach just kind of casually mentioned something I was going to get to. Might as well get to it right now. I can't believe your son Tucker A is 4 years removed from New Pal. What has this experience been like coaching him these last 4 years?
I tell you, because now he's in his 5th year. He's just finished up his master's.
Wow.
So, just to see his face, every day, in that meeting room. I've coached for 37 years, and to have my son for 5 of those years in that room means a lot to me. Just to shake his hand and stretch and get after the game, I gave him a big hug because he knew how big a win this was.
Absolutely.
He understood, what it meant for everybody. So it's special, just to spend time with him. My daughter lives in Florida, and my oldest son lives in Fort Wayne, and so I got my youngest one is here at the university also. So I'm enjoying the fact that they're around because I know once you get them educated, they take off.
All right, Chris said it. 37 years in coaching. 32 of them have now been spent at the University of Indianapolis. So his first year on campus was my first year on campus back in the fall of 1994. When you first took the job with Joe Polizzi, how long did you plan on being at U of I, as it was called back then?
I probably didn't plan on staying 32 years.
Right.
I like the kids. I like the support by the administration. I was in Division I. It just wasn't for me. The people and I was more of a fit with Division II, just in terms of love the kids, love the administration, love the family feel. I grew up east side of Indianapolis. I've never chased money. I was happy and I stayed. And that's why. I mean, it's been a good situation, and I'm no hurry to leave. I'm 59. I've got at least 8 more years coming. So I wore my khakis for Joe Polizzi today. That was in honor of Joe. So he hired me on April 11th, 1994. So I want to plug our game this
Absolutely.
Saturday. We're homecoming game, McKendree, a really good football team in our league. They've been close games. They beat us 2 years ago when we were undefeated in 9-0 and 8th in the country. So it's going to be a great football game. And Kim, our athletic director, Kim Pate, brought the hospitality tent back, and it's
Mother Nature tried to blow it away on Saturday.
Oh boy!
But we hope for calmer conditions this coming Saturday.
Beef brisket served in the tent, and drinks, and it's a great place to watch a football game. I know one day when I retire, I want to sit in that tent and I want to eat and drink and watch the game. But no, it's going to be a big game, and I hope to see everybody there. I like to see our alumni there. I saw a bunch of football alumni at Marion, and it just makes my heart feel good.
Well, by the way, the Bearcats of McKendree opened up with Indiana State, and you may not think Indiana State's all that good after Friday night against IU. McKendree hung with Indiana State the first week of the season, so again, McKendree's going to be a tough team. And again, you are by no means overlooking MCK, but what the GLVC has often turned into in football, when do UIndy and Truman play, and how does that game go? And that's the next game for you the next weekend. I know how coaches work, 1 week at a time, but just your thoughts kind of getting those two teams out of the gate in terms of the league.
We just had 3 tough games,
right,
physical games, and then boom, boom, the 2 most physical teams in the conference we got the next 2 weeks. So it was 1 game at a time. McKendree's they've done a great job. Their head coach does a great job against us, and they've been a thorn, in our foot for a couple years. So we're going to get their best shot, and so we're really concentrating on them. We'll get to Truman in a week, and we're not even. There's no way anyone's thinking about that. We're all in on McKendree, and it's a big football game. So it's a 6:00 kick. I hope to see tailgate opens up at 2:00. I hope to see a bunch of Hounds fans there and cheering us on. It would help us a ton.
This year is a 5 home game slate for the Greyhounds. 3 of them are going to be 2:00 games, as the game was against Ashland on Saturday afternoon. This will be a 6:00 game. Again, you and I had been around long enough to know how much the atmosphere changed once lights got put in at Key Stadium. When I say Saturday nights at Key, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, well, that's what we always say. Dressed in black at night in front of our family and friends. We've won a lot of ball games dressed in black playing at 6 p.m. and our kids get excited, and it's like I said, it's a great atmosphere. The tailgate gets going, and I was just so happy to get the hospitality tent back. It just leads to such great atmosphere. I have our referees. They come to us and we like being here because it's a great home field advantage. There's no question.
Again, McKendree is the opponent for the Greyhounds coming up on Saturday night. 6:00, of course, is where you can find it. You can always watch the game from the GLVC Sports Network course, you can listen to the game as well on 88.7 FM, WICR The Diamond. The so long it was the case when I was there too, longtime campus radio voice of the University of Indianapolis Greyhounds. My friend, it is good to see you.
Thank you so much.
Congrats on the great start to the year, and best of luck on Saturday night.
Appreciate it.
We will take this quick time out. Coach will step aside, and Coach Case of the volleyball program joins us next. Our inaugural edition of the Greyhound Coaches Show returns next here on the ISC Sports Network.
At the University of Indianapolis, your education is just the beginning. Small class sizes means that everyone gets to know you, your goals, your dreams, and your vision for the future. UIndy empowers you with real-world, hands-on learning projects that transforms your potential into purpose. And it's just minutes from downtown Indianapolis, connecting you to our alumni network, internships, and careers. How's that for opportunity? So, are you in? Your future begins at the University of Indianapolis.
This is Paul. He loves running, music, and DIY home projects. In fact, he's remodeling his kitchen thanks to a home equity line of credit from Indiana Members Credit Union. They connected him with a loan officer, got him approved at a great low rate, and made it easy for him to make his monthly payment from anywhere thanks to IMCU's digital banking. Looks like Paul can do it all with a little help from IMCU.
At the University of Indianapolis, your education is just the beginning. Small class sizes means that everyone gets to know you, your goals, your dreams, and your vision for the future. UIndy empowers you with real-world, hands-on learning projects that transforms your potential into purpose. And it's just minutes from downtown Indianapolis, connecting you to our alumni network, internships, and careers. How's that for opportunity? So, are you in? Your future begins at the University of Indianapolis.
Welcome back for the final time. Yes, it's two guest, two segment show. We're going to do this each and every month. I waited up a little bit for the kind of school year to get underway for it to start, but you can kind of set your watch to it going forward now. First Monday of every month, as long as the academic calendar is going on. So basically, from now through April, you will have a Greyhound Coaches Show on the ISC Sports Network. Thanks to our tremendous ISC Sports Network crew, that being Jordan Shue, fellow proud Greyhounds, such as myself, Vince Morales, and Charlie Hammock. Thanks to Jake Barrett in the athletic office at UIndy, all the hard work behind the scenes. Ryan Thorpe, the same thing can be said for him as well. Chris Keevers was able to kind of launch us on the program. He's been around for 32 years at UIndy. Haley Case has been around for about 32 weeks as the volleyball coach at the University of Indianapolis, her first season, and she joins us now. Welcome to Indianapolis. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you. Doing well. Glad to be here.
All right. You know Division II very well from kind of playing days, coaching days at both West Florida and Washburn, which those that don't know is in Kansas. Why was this opportunity the right one for you to kind of take the next step of your career?
Yeah, for sure. I was at the University of West Florida before this. I'm from Columbus, Ohio originally, so I'm a Midwest girl at heart. I was looking for a place where I could be for a long time. I want to build roots. I want to win at what we can do. And, you have to have the resources. You have to have a university that can support that. You also have to have a city that's great to live in. There's a lot of schools that are in the middle of nowhere. So Indianapolis was that perfect fit. And it's about 3 hours away from my mother and, the perfect fit. So. And
obviously this is a program that has had success. Again, by its own lofty standards, maybe not as much over the last few years, but frequently a school that played very deep into the national tournament, won GLVC championships. Again, I think turning it around is the wrong word. How quickly can you kind of get back to a level like that?
Yeah, and you're right. Division II is all I know, and winning at the highest level of Division II. And so back in 2009, they were in the Elite Eight. In 2012, they went to the Final Four. So this program can make it to, become a national powerhouse at Division II. I'm trying. I mean, we opened up with Concordia St. Paul. They've won 9 national championships in Division II, and we were able to get them in 5, which was incredible. So, they're ranked 11th in the nation right now. I think having our girls realize that it's a big time win, but sustaining success is going to take a lot.
See, the Greyhound in me trumps being Lutheran. I feel good about UIndy beating Concordia St. Paul in that season opening match. So let's kind of talk about your roster. And again, Division II has always been a little bit more in flux because you could transfer down historically from Division I and have immediate eligibility. Of this roster, how much are players you kind of either brought with you or recruited? What sort of balance you have as far as the players that said, you know what, I'm going to stay and play for a new coach? What was that kind of numbers like for you?
Yeah, for sure. There's 8 new girls on our roster. I brought in 6 of them. So 4 of them are transfers, 2 freshmen. We had 2 freshman commits already, but I had to, re-recruit them to kind of stick along with my vision. But that was day one. I'm all about relationships and building those relationships. So I told the girls, I'm going to show you my vision. I'm going to show you how I am as a coach. If you're in, I want you to be all in. And we're going to go do this together. And so they chose, they wanted to be all in and to help me take this program to the next level and build this culture. And kind of the story is we get to be the next generation of UIndy volleyball. So they look back and they get to say we were a part of this foundation for what the future is going to hold.
For the players that stayed, every coach talks about buy-in. And you nod accordingly. What has been the level of buy-in from those that, again, were Greyhounds before you got here?
Yeah, it's been good. Still, as we go through challenges and we go through, growing pains, it's easy to win a couple matches. It's hard to sustain, and it's hard to have the growth mentality. And I think that's something that has been missing maybe of just always looking forward that next best thing. So I'm definitely pushing them in different ways. And I think some days they're probably like, holy cow. But, they stay in the fight. They're really good girls and they love each other and they love this program. And so that's really all you can ask for as a coach.
6-2 to start the season. And again, how Division II works is frankly very similar to how Division I works. And what I mean is this. Your first month of the season usually is all weekend matches. You're trying to bring as many teams to a site as possible, play as many quality competition teams as you possibly can. Get about 3 or 4 weeks in, and then for the most part, you're focusing on league play. Mm-hmm. So you basically have played 2 weekend tournaments so far. You're 6-2. How you feeling about how you're playing and what your record is right now?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. I mean, we Concordia St. Paul and Cedarville actually this past week, and they were really, really good. And we played in a stadium filled with over 1,000 people. So we've been challenged. It's just, we play these top teams at the beginning of the year so we can be revealed of what do we need to work on? What do we need to get better at? We want to be exposed early on so that when, conference play comes around, we've got our kinks kind of worked out and it doesn't come as a surprise. So, we've taken our hits early for sure, but I'm proud of these girls, and it takes all 19 of them to win.
All right, you've got a couple, and again, this is the way it works. Generally, you have one home tournament. You already had that first weekend out of the chute. Next time you get to be at home isn't until really kind of the first weekend in October. Mm-hmm. But you've got some big events that you are having around that. Tell us about it.
Yeah, early October, we have a youth day. We just, being a new coach, I'm getting used to all the different schools in the area, and we just want people out, and we want to give out free T-shirts and just have a community. That's a big thing that I loved about UIndy is the culture and the community that's built around the school. So, we have a youth day. We have a Halloween match. We also have a Dig Pink match where we're supporting breast cancer. So we're doing a whole fundraiser for breast cancer, which is really, true to my heart, and people have been affected in my life. So I'm, in 3 really big events, but we'd love to have as many people as possible.
All right, so the first is coming up with a Dig Pink match. That is going to be a non-conference match against Kentucky State. That is on a Wednesday night, October the 1st. Games at Ruth Lilly, and we'll talk about that facility coming up in a matter of moments. That youth night, that kind of a fan appreciation weekend, that is Friday night, October the 3rd, against the Peacocks of Upper Iowa. So the next couple of home matches, athletics.uindy.edu. Simply look for teams, click on volleyball, go to the schedule. You'll find out more information. So most schools of a size of UIndy have kind of multiple competition gymnasiums. Obviously, basketball gets played at Nickerson Hall. You can play volleyball at Nickerson as well, but historically, Ruth Lilly has been your spot. And it can be cozy. It can be loud. It can be raucous because literally people are right on top of the court to watch what is getting to play there been like for you and your team so far?
Yeah, it's been really fun. I mean, the court, it was renovated a few years ago, so it's really nice. It's volleyball specific. But when you pull those bleachers out, you're right. People can stand right on top of you,
Right.
Which is awesome. You know, that's the environment you want. You want to have that home court advantage. So I love it. I think it's great.
So we talked about coming here to UIndy and kind of learning the program. What has kind of learning the campus been like for you so far?
Yeah, fast track. I mean, recruiting, you have to
Right.
learn the campus real quick. It's been good. And each day I always try to ask different questions to different parts of campus to get an idea of like, what story are you guys telling over here? But my assistant, she did a scavenger hunt at the beginning of the year for the girls. And so during that, we all learned a little bit more about campus and what resources we have. But it's fun. I mean, the campus is beautiful and there's a lot going on, which is great.
And so I love the way you phrase that because it allows me to phrase a question of a very similar ilk to you. When you are telling the story of recruiting players to play for you at UIndy, what is that story in the kind of the embryonic stages right now?
Yeah, good question. You know, I had an incredible experience at Division II. I mean, we won at the highest level, won a national championship when I was a junior, and I saw a lot of my friends who went to college and came back and they hated volleyball afterwards, and they didn't like their experience. You know, it became more of a job for them, and it just broke my heart because I'm like, I love volleyball. I love my coaches. I mean, my coach is now one of my best friends. But I just loved what I had, and that's what I'm really looking to build. You know, I tell the girls it's not going to be easy. Winning's not easy. Being a part of a program that strives for excellence is not easy. But I want girls who are going to jump in and say yes anyway. And so, you know, we want to become better people at the end of the day. And I hope my goal is these girls leave our program and say, I'm a better person because I was a UIndy volleyball player.
All right, couple quick things, maybe three more, and then we'll let you go. Haley Case, again, brand new volleyball coach here at UIndy, joining us on our debut edition of the Greyhound Coaches Show here on the ISC Sports Network. Again, thanks to Carrie Crow, by the way, too, and all the great folks at Upland Fountain Square for having us out. We'll do this 7 more times during the course of the academic year. I've asked you about campus. What is it like? I mean, like literally I could like point to downtown. It's like 15, 20 blocks away. What has it been like adjusting to living in Indianapolis?
Yeah, it's been good. We actually live like 0.2 miles away from here. So we love Fountain Square.
Yeah.
It's, you know, Indy's so cool. I mean, professional sports all over the place.
Including volleyball now.
Yeah, including volleyball.
Ignite,
we love that. But yeah, there's so much to do. And I love how it's a mix between you can go to the city and be involved in that. You also can go more out to the suburbs and go hiking and go do all sorts of things. So it's like Columbus, Ohio, but different.
And when she drops the we, you decide, you know what? Let me make a career change. Let me make a big move in my career, change schools, and let me get married like simultaneously.
Yeah.
How was balancing that during the course of the spring?
It was crazy. It was crazy. We did it, though.
Right? Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
On that front. And finally, before I let you go, again, I'm lucky enough to be connected to a lot of the people, not just in the high school volleyball scene, but kind of in the club volleyball scene, which obviously is pretty robust here in central Indiana. What has it been like as you kind of look around and learn the talent you have available to you here? What does that do for you going forward?
I mean, it's a volleyball hub. The Midwest is a volleyball hub. Indianapolis in general is a volleyball hub. So for me, just finding those girls that want to stay close to home and be a part of something great in their city, that's really what we're looking for. But I can drive, 5 minutes to a high school that I probably can't even get half the girls to come to our school. It's a blessing. At West Florida, we really had to travel recruiting, and here it's awesome having it in our back door.
Speaking of Florida, the Hounds are going to St. Petersburg to play a weekend set, and a lot of the Sunshine State Conference schools, Nova Southeastern, Eckerd, St. Leo, Edwin Waters, going to be the 4 they play this week. After that, GLVC play begins on the 26th out at Quincy against the Hawks. Next time you can catch the Hounds at home, Kentucky State the opponent. That's the dig pick match on Wednesday, October the 1st. Again, athletics.uindy.edu has more information. Haley, a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
Good luck in the rest of your first
I
season.
appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
For Haley Case and for the head coach of the football program in Chris Keevers, my name is Greg Rakestraw. We'll do this again on Monday, October the 6th. Thanks for joining us for the Greyhound Coaches Show right here on the ISC Sports Network.
At the University of Indianapolis, your education is just the beginning. Small class sizes means that everyone gets to know you, your goals, your dreams, and your vision for the future. UIndy empowers you with real-world, hands-on learning projects that transforms your potential into purpose. And it's just minutes from downtown Indianapolis, connecting you to our alumni network, internships, and careers. How's that for opportunity? So, are you in? Your future begins at the University of Indianapolis.
This is Paul. He loves running, music, and DIY home projects. In fact, he's remodeling his kitchen thanks to a home equity line of credit from Indiana Members Credit Union. They connected him with a loan officer, got him approved at a great low rate, and made it easy for him to make his monthly payment from anywhere thanks to IMCU's digital banking. Looks like Paul can do it all with a little help from IMCU.
At the University of Indianapolis, your education is just the beginning. Small class sizes means that everyone gets to know you, your goals, your dreams, and your vision for the future. UIndy empowers you with real-world, hands-on learning projects that transforms your potential into purpose. And it's just minutes from downtown Indianapolis, connecting you to our alumni network, internships, and careers. How's that for opportunity? So, are you in? Your future begins at the University of Indianapolis.